a problem with linguistic phonetic explanations. We have been discussing the differences at the linguistic phonetics level and then comparing that with the individual phonetics level. And we highlighted the point that for describing the sound patterns of a specific language, we are always focusing on the shared knowledge and skills of a community within a specific language, right? Within a specific sound system, considering that the sound system is basically the language. We explored two major points while describing that the language as a sound system exists within community. And those principles were the IPA principle, that how International Phonetic Association is focusing on whatever is found within a specific community, and then giving those symbols specific charts, specific descriptions, and then various processes which are involved in the production of that specific sound system, like by giving value to the sounds which are produced by the community, and therefore calling it the linguistic phonetics, right? The phonetics of the community, and then focusing on various diacritics, like those co-articulations and secondary articulations and specific features which are superimposed on the primary, the major, description of the sound. And then we also had one more principle in order to describe the linguistic phonetics, and that was the feature hierarchy. We explored that the hierarchy of features is really important in order to describe the sound system on the basis of the knowledge and skills of a community, the shared knowledge of linguistic phonetics. And then we also discussed that the personal, the individual, the idiosyncratic properties of speech sounds are, as a general rule, discounted within a community, because the focus of phoneticians and the focus of even interlocutors, that's on the shared part of the sounds, right? Like whatever is already known to the listener would be accepted as the meaningful sound system, and the part which is not known, or which is the output of the idiosyncratic differences, right? That's just neglected. That's the capability of human being. Further on this discussion, we would analyze now one major problem, which comes while our focus is on the linguistic phonetics. And we are not really taking the individual performance of the sound into account, right? That's the issue where we may not be able to come up with a solid answer in the framework of IPA and feature hierarchy. And then we would need to go further above those two major principles, and we would look for other possibilities through which we can describe such an issue. We can come up with the solution, and we can also, as an expert of phonetics, we could come up with a very solid explanation, right? So the points related to IPA and feature hierarchy, although they are explained, they are capable to come up with the background theory of speech production, right? Like IPA tells us that how the manners are coordinated with the places of articulation, and then focusing on various features from the articulators and describing them within a framework, right? And within the feature hierarchy, our focus is on the features, like how the major features are, explaining the background description of the sounds, right? And these two together could explain the sound systems of a specific community, right? But the current phonetic trends, the phonetic research and the phonetic theories, they are focusing on speech motor control, like how the muscles and the motor control features are then described by the phoneticians. And then they also focus on the representation of speech and memory, like how is the memory affecting our speech, right? The memory of individual speakers. And then the interaction of the perception and production, like how is the sound perceived and then how it is produced. These are the points which are, the focus of current theories in phonetics and phonology. And the major example is the sound pattern of English, SPE, given by Chomsky and Hall. You might have heard this type of grammar, SPE, sound pattern of English. Those types of theories, they try to give reasons to features like assimilation. Now, assimilation cannot be really explained in terms of the feature hierarchy, right? Because there is overlapping of the sounds, overlapping of the features, right? And if we try to explain this in terms of feature hierarchy, then we can probably say that, okay, adjacent sounds share some phonetic features, right? But the point is that those features, when they are shared, how can we explain the background theory that things are shared? And then if we believe in the linguistic phonetic theory, that the community knowledge, the specific knowledge, the norms of a specific society, these are actually giving us a way to the possibility of assimilation, right? But that possibility of assimilation cannot be really explained through the patterns which are given in the feature hierarchy. So we need to go further, and that's the point where we are restricted to think about the feature hierarchy, and the feature hierarchy does not give us a solid explanation. So we turn then to something else, and that is an important point. We would discuss that in the next session.